Society does this really weird thing with confidence in which if you're a larger person and you happen to be confident, they will cheer you on. But if you're someone that cares about what you eat, you care about your presentation, and you have the same level of confidence, all of a sudden now you have 90 people trying to humble you. And I think that this in and of itself is so performative because what's really the difference here? One is more, I guess, socially acceptable and one is not. And the more you peel back the onion, you realize that it comes down to the fact that you might be better than other people. As bad as it sounds, when you have a great physique, when you look the part, when you are more conventionally appealing to other people will try to dim your light. Other people will try to slander your name simply because they don't feel adequate. But when you're on the other side of the spectrum and maybe you don't care as much about your appearance and you still exude that confidence, people don't view you as a threat. And I need more people to understand that. So when people are trying to humble you, in and of itself, it really is a compliment. They're really trying to tell you that I'm afraid of you. There's something about you that scares me. And I think that there's something in your own value proposition that I can't compete with. So when you run into people that try to humble you, just realize that they're really just trying to give you a compliment. Hope this helps.
Hey ladies, today I just want to rant because this video triggered something in me. It's almost as though people would rather pity someone and raise up the person who they pity rather than uplift the person who was able to find confidence and self-esteem on their own and learn to love themselves on their own. You know, it's almost like people want you to want them. People want you to need them, need their approval, need their praise, need them to prop you up. But when you prop yourself up, it's a problem. People always say, oh, confidence is key, be confident, be confident. But when the girlies who are actually confident show confidence, it is spat upon. It is so frowned upon that you would get targeted for standing firm in your self-esteem, in your self-assurance, and in your confidence. There's such an untold story of women who had the light stomped out of them, had the charisma and the aura and the energy sucked out of them and stomped out of them from a young age. People constantly attacking them, people constantly coming for their neck, people not letting them breathe. And then these women then decide, you know what, instead of trying to live for others, instead of trying to gain my sense of self through other people's words, other people affirming me, I'm gonna affirm myself. Instead of me dying for admiration from my mother or for a pat on the back from my father, I'm going to praise myself. I'm going to uplift myself. Instead of looking for friends to validate me and validate my existence, I'm going to be a lone wolf, walk alone and validate myself. Because guess what? When I was in a subservient position, when I was serving other people with my lack of self-love and with my low self-esteem, I was being trampled upon. I was being used like a doormat. I was being walked all over and I was being a people pleaser. And I was dishonoring myself to serve other people's egos. So when I decide, you know what, forget these people, I'm about to turn it up a notch and become that person who no one can mess with, no one can humble, no one can try to project upon, no one can try to destroy my confidence. Suddenly, oh, she's cocky. Oh, she's arrogant. Oh, she thinks she's all that. Oh, she's stuck up. Wow, so when I was a shell of myself, everyone wanted to be around me. It was fun punching down on the pretty girl who didn't know herself or didn't love herself, right? It was fun and it was cool to mess with me because I didn't know who I was yet and I didn't love myself, right? Okay, so when I finally wake up to who I am, now suddenly it's a problem. That's why I don't care about people who uplift other people who they pity. Like, I noticed there's been this shift where truly confident people who had to become confident despite people coming against them, despite people pushing back against who they are, despite all the attacks, they still rose up and they're confident regardless of if they have people in their back pocket. Society actually hates those people. They want those people gone. One of the main people who I can think of who they do that to, and this is a controversial take because she's in a hot seat right now, is Nicki Minaj. Regardless of what's happening right now with her in the news and everything, one thing we know about her is that she's excellent at what she does, and she doesn't let people determine her value or determine who she is. And so she has cultivated this beautiful life for herself without needing other people to tell her that she's great. She had all these oppositions and all these forces working against her and still prevailed because she is confident. People hate that. But people are quick to uplift someone like Cardi B, who had this crazy origin story. You know, she's relatable. She doesn't have superstar quality that's innate. You know what I'm saying? When I say innate, meaning she has actual innate talent to write her own raps and be a star. She's created. She was created by labels. That is a fabricated star. And that's the type of person that people love propping up. And I don't care who this triggers right now because people love mediocrity. That's something I noticed. Like people, like society will gaslight you into believing that they love stars and they love bright stars and they love people who are original and who are themselves and who are confident. But do they really though? Do they really though? Because when those people actually start popping it and they're doing all the things despite attacks from people, despite people trying to smear their name or stop their bag or get them knocked off, they still are showing up and they still dare to be confident and stand 10 toes and stand with their head held high. They actually don't like that crap because that means that you don't need other people. Society runs off of people needing them for things. That's why people who are mediocre, they will skyrocket nowadays. Mediocrity is literally the best way to get ahead in superficial industries and in superficial spaces because you're easy to mold. You probably don't like yourself that much. You probably have low self-esteem, so it's easy to control you and program you. It's all a scam. It's a scam. And so for me, as someone who had to cultivate confidence without having the backing of a loving mother, I was raised in a narcissistic home, without having a huge group of friends to validate me and, you know, make me feel like I'm worthy of friendship, without having all these things, I still had my head held high because that's all I could do. I knew that if I shrunk, and the type of person I was, I just wasn't going for that. No matter how many people tried to smear my name or isolate me or, you know, treat me like I had cooties and nobody wants to be friends with me, I still stood 10 toes and held my head high because at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. And I knew that from a very young age. I wasn't going to allow people to destroy me and my confidence. So I knew that I was not going to allow people who were trying to project onto me, who were trying to make me feel inadequate, win. I wasn't going to let them win, you know? So I just have a serious issue with people trying to act as though they actually like confident people because it's quite the opposite. And if you're someone who posts on social media, you will notice that very early on. That if you come off confident and sure of yourself, people are not going to like that. People are not going to want to engage with you. They're not going to want to be a part of your come up, you know, until it's popular to like you. So many celebrities and content creators talk about how they had a hard start to creating content, how, you know, people ignored their content. People would clown them. People would send their content to other people and laugh about it until some celebrity reposted that piece of content, or until their social media following skyrocketed, or until something big happened in that person's life due to their efforts, despite people trying to knock them down a peg by withholding compliments, by withholding support and engagement. So despite the attacks, despite the covert attacks, they still rose up to the occasion. And now you want to jump on the bandwagon. Now you're a fan. Now you always knew you were going to make it. You always knew. No, it's fake. You don't like confident people, especially people who are confident and you're trying so hard to take them down a notch and you simply can't. It pisses people off. So this is a lie when people try to say, "Oh yeah, like we love confident people. Be confident. Confidence is the best thing ever." No, people love mediocrity. You love people who can be controlled and manipulated and coached. I am not someone who you can coach or manipulate. Okay? I take instructions from the Most High, and that's why I'm in the position I am today, and that's why I pop it the way I pop it today, because I bet on myself. I trusted in myself and in God. I looked in the mirror and had tunnel vision and focused on who I was becoming and who I wanted to be, despite people's efforts to take me down a notch. And when I tell you there have been efforts, there have been efforts. I'm talking about trying to make me homeless, trying to make me jobless, efforts. Trying to make me lose everything that I've created, efforts. So this confidence comes from God. It's Godfidence. It has nothing to do with, faking the funk or being egotistical, being a narcissist. No. Just because someone is unbreakable and unmovable doesn't make them a narcissist. Like, people throw that word around and it pisses me off, because as someone who was abused by one, I don't appreciate my confidence being misconstrued for narcissism. Just because I don't care about your opinion of me doesn't make me a narcissist. That makes me someone who is self-validating. That makes me someone who gets her identity in Christ. All right? Let's really talk about it. So ladies, I could ramble on and on. I might do a part 2. Let me know what you guys think, because I have a lot to say about this. I'm very passionate, clearly. So drop down in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on fabricated confidence. People who are mediocre and get uplifted and praised by different communities and society and in different social settings. And also what your thoughts are on people who had to create confidence and who are actually naturally confident because they created it for themselves. And it comes from within, not outside of themselves. And let's have a conversation. I'll also be leaving my email in the description box so you can share your stories there as well. Have a lovely day, ladies.